This is Mark Schulman reporting from Tel Aviv. Here we're situated on Rehov Ibn Gvirol in downtown Tel Aviv. This is a night when the social protest movement has decided to renew its protests, and the protest has begun here in Tel Aviv. As you can see behind me, the protesters are coming down Ibn Gvirol Street, and they're about to turn onto Rehov Kaplan, and they're planning to have a vigil on the location that 1 year ago, one of the protesters put himself to fire and died, protesting the situation. The protesters are protesting the current budget that was being passed by the Knesset, which calls for cutbacks as opposed to increases in the social programs, increased taxes, everything that goes against everything that the social protest movement has stood for. As I wrote yesterday in a column, an opinion piece, I don't believe the social protest movement is going to be very successful because once again, the protest movement is asking for general sort of requests, apple pie, more social equality, more money for social budgets, and very little, very specific about how to bring down the price of the cost of living in this country. 2 years ago, over 500,000 people came out in the streets. Tonight, it's not quite clear how many are turning out. The majority of the protesters are now passing us. My estimation is there are between 5,000 and 10,000 people here on the streets of Tel Aviv tonight. As I expected, the slogans are general. No more a nation of tycoons. It's a demonstration against tycoons, against a tycoon budget, calling for more equality, but without any really specific suggestions, without any specific complaints. Here comes the people who are complaining about the gas, and that whole issue is the question of whether the gas should be exported or kept in the country. Once again, an important demonstration, but a demonstration that will no doubt pass into history as a moment in Israel's history that will have had minimal impact. These are the demonstrators saying, Otzeret et shidur hagaz. That means to stop the gas from going outside the country. These protesters oppose the export of gas, once again thinking it's better for the country to keep the gas in the country. The protesters are now moving to Rehov Kaplan. That's where the government and the Ministry of Defense have their offices. They will begin a demonstration that will last until the morning. This is the 1 year anniversary of the death of one of the demonstrators last year who put himself on fire in front of the Kiryat. An interview I did earlier this evening with one of the protesters. Hi, thank you for speaking to me.
Yeah.
Could you tell me what you expect to accomplish by coming out tonight?
Just to protest what I believe in, that this government leads us to nowhere, basically. We went out to the streets 2 years ago, nothing happened, although we all experience a hard life here, and we expect the government to hear us, but it didn't happen yet, so that's why we're coming back to the streets.
So you're disappointed in what happened over 2 years? The election results didn't reflect your views at all?
Not at all. Unfortunately, some cynical politicians won the elections, driving on the protesters, but did not deliver what they promised. Not yet, at least.
And you expect the protests to have any effect now?
I hope so, but I hope that the accumulated pressure of the Israeli public at the end will bring to a real change. We need so many changes, so of course it's not what will not happen in one day or with one politician, but we need actually new politicians, new leaders that really can bring us to a different place. I hope one day it will happen.
If you had to pick one thing, what would be the one change you'd like to see happen first?
Wow, that's big. One change. Well, I advocate for social and economic rights, and I wish to see a social and economic bill, preferably as a basic law, and then this would be a real foundation for a big change.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Another evening of protest has come and gone here in Tel Aviv. The first of this year. And once again, the general protest was Ha'am Doresh Tzedek Chavrati, which means the nation demands social justice. Great slogan, important thing, everyone agrees, nothing will be done. Because Ha'am Doresh Tzedek Chavrati is a general statement that has no real meaning. People are out, people are angry, people feel that the election was hijacked, that Yesh Atid hijacked their election, hijacked what they wanted to take place, and instead they got a regressive government budget. Yesh Atid has promised and Yair Lapid has promised it'll be better in a year or two. But the people who demonstrated 2 years ago wanted it to be better now, wanted it to be better last year, wanted it to be better this year. But nothing has changed in the 2 years since the social protest movement began, and it's unclear and most likely unlikely that anything will change in the immediate future. This is Mark Schulman from Tel Aviv.